Ask me the first question.
What's your name?
Fred Knight.
Why do you reenact?
Because it's history and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing Civil War and Revolutionary War, both wars. I also was in the Navy. Well, actually, I was in the Naval Reserves from 52 to 56 down at Philadelphia Navy Yard. Then I was drafted by the Army. I went into the Navy, and I was down the Philadelphia Navy Yard for 3 weeks as a brig chaser in a military brig. Then I was transferred onto a troop transport. We carry Marines to the Middle East, well, actually the Mediterranean, and most of the time we wound up in Beirut, Lebanon. There was trouble there. Of course, there's still trouble. And also they believe that here, die for me, well, in plain words, I go hide, and also that they brainwash them from the baby up. Now, I don't know how many landings we had in Beirut, Lebanon, trouble, and of course, Beirut now is in ruins, and it was a beautiful place at one time. And when we go ashore, a few of us had to go together. We weren't allowed to go alone. Yet this was in Beirut, a tourist place. And like I say, the Muslims, they don't like each other. They don't like each other's religion. And of course, they like to wipe us and Israel off the face of the earth. And I was in the Middle East, and they're actually, the people are brainwashed in plain words. And they're illiterate, they can't read, write, and they're backward. And of course, we try to help them, but they don't appreciate us. Thank you. I don't know if that's all right or not.
It's your opinion, too.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Thank you very, very much. I'm proud to be a veteran. I like the Navy. I saw a lot. And also I saw a lot about how the Middle East is. And I don't believe there will ever be peace over there. Because, like I say, each religion hates each religion. And they don't like Israel. I'm glad we have Israel over there as an ally. And if we don't have them, we got major problems. So that's about it. Thank you.
What are you dressed in?
Oh, let me explain this. My uniform, George Washington liked this type of uniform. Now, when you joined his army, if you had a uniform, you wore it till you wore it out. Then they would give you one of these uniforms. Now, Washington liked this kind of uniform because in the background, you would blend in with the scenery. So George Washington preferred this type of uniform. Now, the thing, well, I don't know if I said, but the thing is, when you wore out uniform, actually you issued one of these types of uniform. Because, like I said, George Washington liked this type of uniform because of the background. You would blend in, and they couldn't notice as much as a regular uniform. So that. Actually, I'm a farmer or I'm a hunter. Actually, with this type of uniform, I was a hunter for George Washington's army to get food and supplies for his army. So,
how many years have you been doing that?
Civil War, about 25 years. And Revolutionary, about 20 years. And also, every year, I also crossed the Delaware with George Washington. And the Park Service is very strict on the qualifications or what you have to do. You receive a form from Washington Crossing. You fill it out, and also you go to the doctors and get a doctor's note saying that you can cross the Delaware. If you don't submit the doctor's note, you don't cross the Delaware. Now, the other requirement is you go to practice. Now, that's before Christmas. Now, if you don't go to practice, come the day of the crossing, you don't cross. That's the qualifications, the rules of the Park Service. And I've been doing this, I think I said about 20 years. I've been doing Civil War about 25. Now, Civil War, you have no requirements. Well, you go for training. You learn to use your weapon, the safety features of it, and you learn it's no toy. So, in plain words, you don't hurt yourself. How's that?
Perfect. And one last thing, what is your age, sir?
I am 79 years old. And I realize I'm not 40 years old anymore. And I used to go for the whole weekend. But now, sleeping on a cot, my back can't take it no more. So I just go one day and go home that night. No matter if it's 150 miles, I'll drive 150 miles to go home. I don't stay overnight no more. I do miss that because like I said, I've slept in January in tents, and I know what they went through back then. And also this heavy cotton, in the summer it's hot. Now with Civil War, the uniform is wool. And if you're at Gettysburg in July and it's 120 degrees, and wearing wool, I know what they went through back then, because it's very hot. The same way with a heavy cotton. That's the way the South was too, the Confederates. They wore gray, but yet it was cotton. And that's heavy too in the summer. So, any other questions? No? I don't know if that's... Okay? All right. When I was in the Naval Reserves, I was on the USS New Jersey a little bit. We took a cruise, and it was funny. I went to ship stores, get a couple cartons of cigarettes, but unfortunately, I got lost on the ship, and they took muster and played roll call, and I wasn't there. You know what they said? Oh, he'll be back when he finds out where he's at. Most of the time, at first you would get lost on that ship. It was so big. And believe me, that ship is big. And I was glad I served on it because I learned a lot about battleships. And also I was on a destroyer escort, a minesweeper, so I know about ships. And I still remember the New Jersey. And the guns going off, God, the dust from the rafters, the overhead would fall down on you. That's how powerful those 16-inch guns. And the shells weighed about, projectiles weighed about 2,500 pounds. And when the cannons would go off to 16-inch, you would know it. The ship would go down, come up again. So, okay, thank you.
All right, first thing, my name is Bryson Scheib with the 42nd Highland Regiment, Grenadiers, Black Watches, you would know them. And I've been asked to explain about canteen right here. Canteen holds water, pretty much the only thing it's good for. You hold it up here. It's usually made out of tin. Cork it in with a wooden thing like this. It's just an easy way to get water. Throw it on your shoulder. That's all it's used for. And it's a nice thing to have after a battle. You'll see a lot of the battles will have women come out with the big containers full of water because the wounded soldiers lying on the ground just begging for water. It's one of the bigger things that you're missing. And clean water is extremely hard to get. I mean, modern times it's really easy to get clean water, access to clean water like that, but it's very difficult back in the day to get clean water. So it's always important to have that canteen on your side.
I'm Charles Scott from Warrenton, Virginia. And the weapon I'm holding is known as a Brown Bess. It was the weapon of the British Army and other armies, to include the U.S. forces and the Continental Army to some extent. It was a 75 caliber. That's 3/4 of an inch barrel diameter. It was used from before the French and Indian War, which would have been probably 1740 or so, until the Enfield musket was adopted by the British in 1853. So it was around for more than 100 years in use. It is a flintlock, that is the ignition system. Flint strikes steel, makes a spark, hits powder in the pan, the powder goes through a small touch hole and ignites the powder that's in the barrel, which propels the ball forward. It is a smoothbore weapon, not rifled. So we call it a musket. We do not call it a rifle because a rifle means you have rifling in the barrel, if you know what that means. You can see rifling in the barrel if you just put your finger down. It's not an accurate weapon. Oftentimes people say, well, why didn't you hide behind trees and shoot? It's silly to stand and shoot at each other in formations. Well, the reason for that is that A musket is a volley fire weapon. You have to mass your fires in the hopes of hitting with a very inaccurate weapon people on the other side. Engagement ranges are usually close, probably about 30 yards. Farther engagement range is maybe 50 yards. Beyond that, it wasn't much use. You had to get that close in infantry formations. Commonly against the Continentals, the British would fix bayonets. They would fire a few volleys into the Continentals and then go after them with the bayonet. Early in the war, that was a highly successful tactic. Later on, as the Continentals got better, they ended up being able to resist that a lot better. I'm a retired Marine infantry officer. I served for 23 years in the Marine Corps. I was then in financial planning, and then I worked again at the beginning of Operation Enduring Freedom. I returned to the Marine Corps and worked as a civilian there for a period of time. Now I'm retired.
Hello, my name is William Myers Jr. and this is my wife Laura Jean Myers. We are here this weekend at Fort Mifflin with the 9th Pennsylvania Regiment. We represent what would be considered middling sort or a middle-class couple. I myself have been involved in Fort Mifflin since I was a child. And have been coming and participating at the siege as well as other demonstrations here. As again, since I was a child, I was born in 1969 and spent the beginning part of the early 70s here with my mother, Sandra Myers, who worked collecting fees at the gate and basically giving tours and all here. Normally, I am the commanding officer of an artillery regiment. My wife, Laura, is a museum director in the Bronx, the Van Cortlandt House Museum in the Bronx, and both of us share an interest in material culture of specifically the later 18th century and the American Revolution. My uniform today is, I'm a new signed up conscript of the 9th Pennsylvania. It's a basic militia type outfit. I'm wearing what's called a hunting frock. The weapon I'm carrying is not a standard issue Brown Bess or Charleville. It's a fowling piece. So it's my own personal hunting weapon, which I brought along. And as I said, we're here this weekend supporting the 9th PA because the commanding officer is involved in Fort Mifflin, is the leader of the Historical Society, so we figured we would come out. We split our time living in both Philadelphia and the Bronx, New York, and decided that how best we could help out was to come out and support the 9th.
Hi there, my name is Steve Saraki. I'm with the 84th Royal Highlanders. We're a reenacting group made up entirely of amateurs. We fight up and down the entire East Coast, and our group has been together since the 1970s.
Hi, today is Armistice Day, normally called Veterans Day as in the modern era, but it signifies the end of World War I on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. We're here to honor that celebration. By the way, my name is Jim Hall. I am the president of the Sons of the American Revolution Philadelphia Continental Chapter.
Good morning. My name is Jim Willis, and I'm a past president of the Philadelphia Continental Chapter, Sons of the American Revolution, and the captain of the Color Guard.
Ellis Adams, just a foot soldier in the Philadelphia Continental Chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution.
Greg Shively, past chapter president, Philadelphia Continental Chapter, Sons of the American Revolution.
Thank you, sir.
George Clark, Sons of the American Revolution, currently secretary of the Philadelphia Continental Chapter.